What's up, guys? ShonnyDman here, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Talk. So, I just want to make this short little intro before we jump into today's episode. Towards the end of the video, the audio starts to go down a little bit. We were trying to do things on Discord. So on my end, the audio starts to go down a little bit, but obviously you can still hear our guest Serenity just fine. It's just the audio on my end. Towards the end of the video, we're talking about, if you're wondering if you couldn't really hear me that well, we're talking about some of the Spider-Man games, Spider-Man Web of Shadows, Ultimate Spider-Man. So we're kind of just talking about that before we were finished wrapping things up. So again, I apologize for the bad audio on my end, but I hope you enjoyed the conversation I had with Serenity. Other than that, you guys enjoy the video. What's up, everybody? ShonnyDman here, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Nerd Talk with this Friday episode. I did 2 episodes again this week. You got one on Tuesday, and you got one today. This one I've been looking very forward to because I just love her stuff. She's a very funny person. But other than that, again, welcome to Nerd Talk, and we're going to just jump right in. So please tell us, for those who are either watching or listening on podcasts, tell us a little bit who you are and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is SpideyyBooty. My username is SpideyyBooty. My name is Serenity. I'm from Minnesota, so you might notice the emphasis on my O's. And I'm trying to get a large Spider-Man collection. I got a little bit. It's a little bit dark, but yeah, this is one room that I have. I have another room with a whole bunch of Tobey Maguire Raimi merchandise. So, but yeah, that's me.
Oh, I know. I just noticed it when you said Minnesota and how it was pronounced. I was like, oh, that's okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, we're Canada.
And so if you're watching on, you probably won't notice this on the podcast version, but if you're watching on YouTube, we're actually doing things different. We're actually doing this on Discord instead of Zoom. And so I wanted to test out different things and see which one I like more. And I'm very excited to try out Discord, and I think it'd be a little bit better to do these kind of episodes instead of Zoom anyway. So that's why if you're seeing the green boxes as we talk, that's why, because we're doing this on Discord. But that's okay. So all right, so let's get into it. So tell us, first question is, tell us about your cosplays and what got you into cosplaying.
Well, I've been cosplaying since 2011, 2012, right when I was about to graduate high school. And I had a friend that I met through the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom, which, for those who don't know, I am obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh! It's Yu-Gi-Oh, Spider-Man, and then Back to the Future. Those are my 3 main.
Wow.
But I had a friend that we were watching this anime that came out that I haven't heard anyone else talk about it, but I think I'm pronouncing it right. It was called Hadaroki, and it was about samurai warriors, but it had a little bit of a twist. You know, you gotta make them a little bit sexy, you know, handsome anime men. And so, me as a teenager, I was looking up pictures, you know, of these sexy anime men, and I came across cosplayers of these characters, and I'm like, hold up, there are people that cosplay these characters. I didn't know the word cosplay, but I'm like, there's people that dress up as sexy anime men, and they look good, and I'm like, what is this? I sent it to my friend, like, geeking out. I'm like, look how good these people look. And she's like, yeah, it's called cosplay. And I'm like, I want in. How do I begin? Like, what do you do to get into this? And so she bought me my first cosplay, and unfortunately, it didn't come in time. And then she bought me a wig that wasn't the right color for the character that I cosplay. So we decided that we would make our own OC Vocaloids. I don't know if you know what Vocaloids were, but it's the best way I can describe it is basically like AI singing robots, like it back in the early 2000s.
Okay.
So it was just holograms that were singing in Japanese culture. But we made I can't remember what the song was called, but they wore hoodies and they had like monsters on their the side of their hoodies, like they had eyeballs and like sharp teeth or like kind of like a jack-o'-lantern, whatever.
Okay.
Oh, we made that and I cosplayed that. That was my first time like doing cosplay, but like my first time like cosplaying a character that wasn't my own design was for this TV show, which was called Tiger and Buddy. And it's my favorite anime. I love it so much. It's about superheroes. And I cosplayed this guy, his name is Kotetsu T Kaburagi. And I loved him. I still do. But I bought it off of eBay. And unfortunately, the eBay seller doesn't sell their cosplays anymore because people kept stealing their pictures and posing as them. And so they don't make cosplays anymore. But thankfully, I still have this cosplay that I cosplayed 10 years ago. And it still fits. And I've been meaning to bring it back because 10 years later, the show got a season 2 on Netflix, and I haven't been able to watch it yet. But I plan on introducing this series to my followers because it is hands down the best superhero anime. Like, for those who like My Hero Academia, this is the cornerstone that made this happen. I love this. It's great. It's amazing. But yeah, so that's how I got introduced to cosplay.
Oh, very, very interesting. And you've been doing it for how long again?
2011, 2012.
Very long time then.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And so your cosplays are primarily from what I've noticed are all Spider-Man themed.
Yeah, because I always wanted a Spider-Man suit. I saw Spider-Man suit cosplayers in 2015, and I was like, those look fire. Those suits, I want one.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I thought that they were really expensive because the only company that I was introduced to was a company called RPC Studios. And they were like, in the like the $500, $600 range. And I'm like, whoa, I don't want to spend that much money on a suit that may fit me. So it wasn't until 2019, the end of 2019, where I'm like, you know what? Life is too short. I'm going to buy myself one of these suits. And so I did. I got it. And then I just started cosplaying these Spider-Man characters again. But I forgot to mention that from near the end of 2015, 2016, I stopped cosplaying for about 3 years due to, I felt like this is a totally different topic, but I felt like it was a sin. This is when I was doing my whole super Christian toxic phase due to my. But then I cut ties with them near the end of 2019, and that's when I was like, you know what? I was told that this stuff was, satanic and sinful and stuff, and I know that's not true. So that's when I was like, I'm gonna buy a suit and do this again, and so that's how I got back into it. So now I do a lot of Spider-Man stuff because, that's my content. But like, I do have a lot of other interests. I did cosplay back in the day, a lot of anime characters, and I did cosplay Thor one time back in 2012, which was terrible. Terrible. I did not want to do that. I was a part of a group of people that we did a panel for the Avengers. And they're like, we need a Thor, and I really didn't want to, but I did it, and it was terrible. One of my most regretful cosplays that I ever did. But I still had fun, though. But that's how I do Spider-Man stuff, but I want to branch away from that, but I'm scared to, because a lot of people follow me for the Spider-Man stuff, but I'm like, hey, I actually do have other interests, believe it or not. It's not just Spider-Man. Right. So hopefully, like I said, I want to cosplay this character again, Kotetsu. Hopefully I can slowly branch out and do other characters and not just Spider-Man.
So I'm trying to remember where I came across your page. It may have been Instagram, because most people that I've had on are people that I came across on TikTok and Instagram, but then there's a few people who may not be on this TikTok, so like just searching up cosplayers. Like I'm pretty sure I came across your page. I think I'm trying to remember what picture it was that I saw that was like, okay, let me message this person and see if she wants to do an episode. But I mean, I love them. I love them all. Your Black Cat. I love the traditional version, and then I love the Marvel Spider-Man version. I think that one I like. I think I like that one a little bit more. Just because the suit design is really cool. And then
Yeah.
let's see, there was one. There was a video you posted. You were probably going to a con or something, but you posted a video because you were making fun because like you said you look like Peter B. Parker from Into the Spider-Verse. I thought that was pretty funny.
That's the suit. That's actually my first Spider-Man suit, and that I didn't even want that. Yeah, that was the first Spidey suit that I got, and that is actually Peter B. Parker's suit. And that's actually not the suit that I ordered. I ordered the classic Spider-Man.
Oh.
But I didn't realize it until like 3 months after I had the suit, and I wanted to buy another one. I was browsing our RPC Studios website, and I saw that, and I'm like, that's not what I ordered. And so I looked at the one that I bought on the email, and it said, you know, classic PS4 Spider-Man suit. And I'm like, that's not the suit that I got. And so I messaged them. I'm like, hey, so I know it's been 3 months, but I paid for this suit, and I got the wrong suit instead. And I actually paid more than what the suit that I bought or I got. And so I messaged them like, hey, I love the suit. Can I just get like the reimbursement of $120? And because I don't want to get rid of it, like it's great, it's amazing, but that's not the suit that I wanted. And without hesitation, they sent me the $120 back, even though it had been 3 months. And I'm like, okay, cool, sweet. So yeah, that was a suit that I did not want, but I was so blinded by like the sheer excitement of having a Spider-Man suit for the first time that it just completely went over my head that I got the wrong suit. And yeah, so that's the story of that suit.
Oh, okay. That's okay. That was pretty interesting. Where did you come up with the name for your Instagram? Where did you come up with the name SpideyyBooty? Was that just like, what's the deal with that?
So, you know how back in 2012 when the Avengers movie came out, like everybody was talking about Captain America's butt? Like there was memes about it, and then so like later in the future, even Marvel cracked jokes about like that's America's ass, you know? So at the time, there was somebody who made a username called Captain America's, you know, ass. And there was other people that made like Thor's hammer, Loki's staff, Widow's bite, you know, it's supposed to be like a play on these usernames. And so like, well, what about Spidey's booty? And then I was like, wait, SpideyyBooty. SpideyyBooty. It just rolls off the tongue, and I'm like, well, that's it. I'm not going back. So I've had the username for 10 years, but I just never did any. I wasn't putting myself out there, but that was just my username that I had on the internet for a while. But yeah, that's how it came to be. It was just a play on the words and just rolls off the tongue. SpideyyBooty.
Yeah, it does. So you do that, and then I saw you post some kind of like, I guess it was for Valentine's Day, Mary Jane kind of.
Yeah.
Those look great too. I really enjoyed those.
Thank you. Those were really hard to take because I'm a huge tomboy. Like I grew up as a tomboy, and growing up I was told to be like not embrace like my feminine features of like who I am because of my mom. And so like it's been very, very hard for me to like be pretty, be like anything of like doing makeup or whatever, because like even if I wore like if I just looked good, it didn't matter if I was fully clothed or not. The people that my family was associated with would be like, that's sinful, that you're drawing males' attention, that's lustful. And so I just felt like that, you know, I'm like, if I am a tomboy and I wear more, you know, masculine clothing, like then there's no way that people can say that I am doing nasty things or whatever. But so me wearing like a dress and just looking good in it, like it's been very, very hard for me to, because even that video that you mentioned about the Peter B. Parker and I was being silly with it, like somebody gave me a rude comment and was like, don't make these cosplays sexual, like you need to like get back into the kitchen. And if you watch that video, you know that that was not any way being sexy. I was being super ridiculous. I had a wig cap on.
Yep.
Like, I did not have my makeup done because I put a mask over my face. And I'm like, how does that equal that? Like, there's so much worse stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
So much worse stuff. And if somebody wants to comment on my pictures of like, you're doing too much when I know that I'm not, it's like, don't go on Twitter. That's all I can say. If you think that what I'm doing is bad, don't go on Twitter. But like I had fun doing that photo shoot for myself, but like God, I hesitated pressing the publish button so many times.
Really?
Yeah, I still do. Like I push it and I'm like, no, I regret this. That was a terrible decision. But thankfully, my followers are like the best. They help lift up my spirits and they help me, love myself and appreciate myself. Like they help me see things that I didn't see about myself before, and I could not be more grateful for the fan base that I have.
Oh yeah. I thought it was pretty funny. Like that may have been the first thing I saw when I came across your page. But I thought that was funny. Like I knew, I was like, hey, she's being pretty funny, and I enjoy that. And then you also have, I think, some Gwen Stacy cosplays that you have done. I'm guessing, yes. Right? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't posted it on Instagram, but I do have the classic Gwen Stacy outfit and the Spider-Gwen. I do have that stuff on my TikTok, but I haven't been able to post on TikTok because I want to make sure that when I go back on TikTok, like I am back, because back in May, I had an eye condition. I cannot begin to tell you on how to pronounce it, what it's called, but it's some sort of dermatitis, and it affected around my eyes, and so like my skin would be peeling around my eyes and it'd be rough, and it would burn and it would itch, and I suffered for that for months. And unfortunately, like for TikTok, like if you take a long break, like they expect you, or at least the algorithm like expects you to stay back. Otherwise, they're not gonna promote it, because they're like, why would we promote an account that's gonna be off and on versus an account that's consistent? So I want to make sure that when I come back to TikTok, like I'm back. So I didn't mean to derail the conversation, but you had mentioned that you didn't know if you saw me on TikTok or on Instagram and my Gwen cosplays. Like I do Gwen, but I realized when you mentioned Gwen that I also haven't posted my classic outfits of her. I think I've done it once, but mostly I've done the Valentine's Day special Gwen outfit. But I do have a lot of Gwen content on my TikTok, but nothing new of lately.
Okay. So you also mentioned that you enjoyed Back to the Future. I love Back to the Future. If you had to, like, which one out of the three, which one is your favorite?
I would probably say the second one, and the reason why I say the second one is because how great and amazing it was to actually live in the year 2015. Like, growing up watching these movies, right? Mm-hmm. And you sit there and you're thinking, like, oh, usually in future movies, they put it out so far in advance that, you don't think you're ever going to reach that time. Like, it's just so far, like the year 3000. But the fact that, 2015 actually was a thing. Like, I remember when it was Back to the Future Day in 2015, that the newspaper, like the USA Today newspaper that they had in the movie for, like, that played a critical part of, like, showing, like, Doc was like, hey, Marty, this is what happens. Your kids get, arrested. And I remember running to my gas station and I bought 3 copies. Yeah. No, 4. I gave one to my stepbrother, I gave one to my dad, and then I kept one as a collector, and then I kept one that was just for funsies. Like, I didn't care if it got like wrecked or whatnot. But I was so excited. I'm like, I'm holding the newspaper that I witnessed when I was a kid. Like, it's a real thing. Like, I'm living the actual day. Now, is it like is what they all predicted back in 2000? No. But it was so like such a surreal feeling. Like, I'm living legitimately a Back to the Future day. So, but I also like, regardless of that, I still think the second movie is a lot of fun. I think the third one is so. I always think the third movies always are so. I think it's very hard that there's ever a third movie of anything that isn't so. I could be wrong about that, but so far, Brady.
No, I mean, you see, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, all three movies are good.
I never.
Oh my gosh.
I never.
Hate that so much. I mean, you could kind of say that with, I mean, I guess it's based on your point of view on it, but you can kind of say that with the Sam Raimi trilogy of Spider-Man movies. The third one is probably not as strong as the first two.
I think that's the reason why I had the idea in my head. That and same thing with the Back to the Future, because I know a lot of other Back to the Future fans, at least the ones that I've met, are not. They don't really like the third one. I mean, they do because it's Back to the Future, right. But like, usually it's your first one or your second one your favorite. That's usually how it goes. I've never heard anyone say that the Back to the Future or Spider-Man 3 is their favorite.
Yes. But I mean, Spider-Man 3 is just. Yeah, it's something.
It is.
It's but I mean, I have met people who actually like it. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like it. If it was on TV, I would probably watch it, but I'm not gonna like go out of my way to watch it.
Oh yeah,
so,
I rewatch it. I stop at the second one.
Yeah, and then we get the Andrew Garfield 2 Spider-Man movies. I think I enjoyed the first one probably a little bit more than the second. The second was maybe too many villains. It kind of suffered a little bit of what the third Sam Raimi Spider-Man did.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, I'm like, how many villains were in this Amazing Spider-Man? That's right. There was Electro and the unnecessary, horrible Green Goblin. Yeah, yep.
And then Rhino even though it was just like towards the end of the movie, still he was in the movie. So you had Electro, Green Goblin, and Rhino in it. So it's just too many villains. I mean, the design of Electro was cool. I didn't care for the Green Goblin. And then Rhino was just he was pretty cool. But other than that, I really liked the first one. I thought because they brought, now even though the second one kind of did bring in some new villains, but like it was really cool seeing like the Lizard, and this one I think was a lot more darker version of Spider-Man a little bit, and then the second one was like drastically lighter.
Yeah, that's one of the things I do give him props for. I wish I would have just cut out the Green Goblin. That was a very unnecessary person to add into the movie.
Yeah.
But like, I do give him props for not reusing the same villains other than the Green Goblin, which is a buzzkill. But like, they did the Lizard and Electro, which was a nice, taste on things. But yeah, that Green Goblin ruined. That's the worst one. Anyone that says that they like that Green Goblin, I do not trust. That's not a person you should trust. No.
I mean, they were also like, going, it looked like they were setting up a Sinister Six kind of, movie and things like that. And it was just, I don't know. And then, not long after Spider-Man 2 comes out, we get Tom Holland's Spider-Man in Civil War. So quick question. So there's been this, obviously it's a huge debate on in your opinion, I want to hear your thought, which of the three best represents Spider-Man?
See, I mean, I know the answer that I'm gonna give. The people are gonna see, well, she's playing favorites, and is that practically probably true? Yeah, I'm not gonna deny that, but I still stand by Toby. But before Tom Holland's movies, what I used to say when it was just Toby and Andrews, I feel like they balance each other out. What one like movie lacks, the other gains. Like I feel like they did a phenomenal job of balance each other out. Like if you want more relatable, which again, this is all opinion. Some people would think that Andrews is more relatable than Toby's, but for me, I feel like Toby's more relatable. And then if you want, the more of the Spider-Man, then you would do Andrew. So, but Tom Holland, and I'm up in the air with that still. I think if I remember correctly, I think he has 3 more movies to do for his contract, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with after No Way Home for his Spider-Man. Like I feel like right now is you can't judge his Spider-Man until he does those movies, because right now he's been all over the place. Like, so I'm excited. I wasn't a huge fan. I still am not a huge fan of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but I will make the decision of like what he is fully like once I see his 4th movie, possibly 5th and 6th movie. But I'm really, because if they don't bring in Black Cat in his movie, I'm gonna be so pissed. That's regardless if I liked her or not. Like that's a missed opportunity. We've already done the Gwen. We've already done the MJ. Granted, Zendaya's character is not Mary Jane Watson, but we got it. How do you not have Black Cat? Come on, the pieces are all there to do it. I feel like she has to be. If they're not, that will be a huge Demi Downer for me. But to answer your question, sorry to derail it, would be Toby. That would be my favorite. And I know people are gonna hate me on that, but stand by what I said.
Yeah, it was so it's always been, I thought of it as like kind of like the way you did, where Tobey Maguire was probably the best version of, or was a good version of a Peter Parker.
Yep.
And then Andrew Garfield was one of the best versions of Spider-Man, with the comic wittiness and everything like that. And so, Tom Holland, his movies. Now he's been in a good bit, but I think now after No Way Home, this next set of trilogy of movies that he's going to get are probably going to be more what you would expect from a Spider-Man movie. Because I mean, his early entry into the MCU, he's surrounded by powerhouse characters. Probably with the exception of maybe Far From Home, when it was kind of mainly just him and Mysterio. But I mean, the first one, Tony Stark was in it, and then No Way Home, Doctor Strange is in it. So now we get to see this next set of trilogy of movies. We get to see how does he become Spider-Man? Because throughout his time in the MCU, even people commenting on videos and stuff like that, saying he's not really Spider-Man. He's just like a Iron Man Jr. and stuff like this. I think people weren't feeling like that connection to Spider-Man as they did with like Andrew and So
I was one of those people that called Tom Holland Iron Man Jr. and that part kind of believes that like in the beginning, like because it was always he was under Iron Man's shadow in my opinion. It was like when I watch Tom Holland's movies, there's nothing about his character that I like find myself relating to. And I know maybe people will sit there and say, well, you're grown, you're an adult, you're not in high school. And that's true. That's the reason why I probably don't relate to his characters, because I'm not in high school anymore and I'm not a teenager going through that. But in No Way Home, though, I did find myself relating to his Spider-Man for the first time compared to, his other movies. They were just fun, action-packed movies for me. But No Way Home was like, okay, I finally relate to you, as I feel like a Spider-Man should be. You should be able to relate to Spider-Man in some way, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I love his Spider-Man. And his movies were really cool because you got, the first one, again, you get new villains. You get Vulture, which I thought was done really well. And the second one, you get Mysterio, who was it was amazing what they did with Mysterio. Now, is he dead? Is he alive? I mean, who knows? And there's not a clear, apparently there's not a clear answer on whether he's alive or he's dead. It's just there. It's just right there. And then you kind of, in the third one, it was really great to see William Dafoe back as the Green Goblin.
Oh yeah.
He stole the movie, in my opinion, with his act. He's such a lovable guy. I love William Dafoe.
That and the fact he did all of his own stunts in that movie. Yeah. Still, at his age, he's phenomenal. His acting is great, and his creepy face. I remember when Tom Holland's like punching the crap out of him, and his face doesn't move. I mean, that was so creepy. I loved it. I loved it so much. He captures the Green Goblin to a T perfectly. Willem Dafoe set that pedestal so high for anybody that future wants to play the Green Goblin. I don't think there's anybody that could out that character, because phenomenal.
But you're right too, because this next set of trilogy of movies, I mean, you're gonna have to introduce a new a semi love interest, because it looks like, Venom is definitely coming at some point in these next three set of movies. After, what was it? I think it was No Way Home. Yeah, it was No Way Home. Yeah, because we get a post-credit scene of Eddie Brock, I guess like Hawaii or somewhere like that, and he gets sent back to his own universe, but a piece of the symbiote stays behind. So, I mean, obviously we're getting Venom. I don't know what other villains
Do you remember Morbius and how that
God. I actually watched that several weeks ago, and I was just, now I will say it's not as bad as people made it out to be.
I agree.
But it could have been done extremely better.
Yeah.
But the post-credit scene of that movie made no sense to me. Because obviously you get Vulture into that universe, and it's just, and you got Morbius just like, hey, you want to team up? He's just like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, what
random. Don't make no sense.
It felt like, watching it felt like they were trying to do a Suicide Squad kind of situation. Well, like a Suicide Squad version of the Sinister Six, where they're not really villains. They're just, I don't know. It was just weird. It was just a weird movie. It's just a weird movie, basically.
It had so much potential, but the fact that they pushed it, they canceled it, they rearranged it.
Oh my gosh, it was just.
Yeah, because I mean, I forget what is the actor that plays Morbius?
Jared Leto.
Yeah, like, to be honest, I don't know who else could play a character as cryptic as Morbius. I think he reminded me of the animated series Spider-Man. I mean, other than the Italian accent I think he had in the animated series. But I mean, it had so much potential, but it was so bad. Like, there were times where I was like, oh, this is actually pretty fun. Then, like, it went right back to being, what are we watching? What's going on here? But yeah, that end credit scene, I'm curious to know what happens with that. Like, I'm so curious if they just be like, let's pretend that never happened. Like, or they go through with it. But
I honestly doubt we probably won't hear anything about that. I think that's I doubt it because I know because like Sony was talking about doing a Craven the Hunter movie.
That's still happening. Yeah. I'm excited for that, but I also heard that Craven in that movie, granted it could have changed, but Craven is an animal lover in that movie. So yeah, and then we also got another superhero that we've only heard once. He appeared in one comic book issue, and it was something with an EL. I don't know. He's so forgettable, and he's a wrestler, and he's going to be played by Bad Bunny, I think is the singer. But I'm like, why fund a superhero project for a character that literally nobody knows about? Like, that was my first time ever hearing about it. I think for the most part, it was the first time anybody ever heard of this character. And they're like, yeah, let's just make this movie. I'm like, why? Why fund that when you could fund so many other projects that are just as cool and amazing? But Sony apparently knows something that we don't, I guess.
It's Sony, they just don't know what they're doing, and it's just frustrating to watch it. Just because, I don't know, it's just very frustrating. But so because like I said, we were more likely we're going to get Venom. I just don't know what other villain you would bring in that you haven't already done or seen. I
would say a Hobgoblin because that's my.
You could do that. You could probably, instead of Green Goblin, since you've already, had him in 3 of the movies. Yeah, I'm not counting the Spider-Man 3 Goblin Jr. thing.
Yep.
You could probably do Hobgoblin.
And my other favorite, because Craven is happening, Chameleon. I love Chameleon. If I remember correctly, Chameleon is related to Craven the Hunter, or he was his sidekick. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that he will be mentioned. I think it's actually confirmed that there was an actor that was going to play Chameleon in that movie. So I could be wrong about that, but those are the only 2 characters that I really want to see on the big screen villain-wise is Hobgoblin and Chameleon.
Yeah, I would say if Sony wasn't doing that Craven movie, then I'll be fine with Craven being the villain in one of the movies. But
yeah,
I mean, honestly, because I would say Jason Momoa would make a good Craven.
See, that's what I said when they cast Aaron Johnson, I think is his name, the person that the Quicksilver.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, when they cast him as Craven, I'm like, why are you recycling characters that already were in part of the Marvel Universe? Why? You had Jason Momoa. That would have been, hello? What? Like, I love Craven the Hunter. He's my second favorite villain, but I think Aaron Taylor, or what did you say his name was?
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, that guy. I don't think he's gonna do a really good job. Yeah. I could be wrong, but I just was flabbergasted that they recycled the same actor that they already used for a different Marvel. I'm like, that kind of takes away the magic. I feel like when you use the same character again.
Yeah.
Or actor, I should say.
Yeah, and like you said, maybe we'll get a Felicia Hardy in Black Cat. I mean, who knows? I think that is a character that still needs some screen time because technically speaking, she was in
Amazing.
Yeah, she was in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but she didn't go by Black Cat then. But still, I think that is a pretty cool, interesting character that you could bring in to kind of put a little love triangle dynamic in with this next set of trilogy of Spider-Man movies. Because I don't know if we're going to see Zendaya in these next set of trilogy or what. I'm not sure what that contract looks like or how does that play out. Like, who knows? I mean, or maybe they'll do a Gwen Stacy. But
right? I can't remember if my friend pointed out that Gwen probably won't appear because of I could be wrong, but I think my friend said because of the way that Andrew Garfield talked about Gwen, that like Peter didn't be like, oh yeah, my Spider-Man friend that I remember, he had a Gwen. So I feel like they're not gonna do that. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that's my friend's theory that he told me about, or something along those lines. But it just makes sense for Black Cat, because Peter is his own individual person, like he doesn't have anybody, and then who is the queen of being independent and like showing how to be, don't need nobody. Black Cat. I feel like, that's where I feel like that's gonna work. He'll be like all sad, be like, how do you not need anybody? And then she'll be like, well, it's simple. You just do your own thing. And then eventually they'll fall in love and blah, 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 blah. Who knows? I don't know, but that's what I'm hoping for, is the way it goes down.
Because it is an interesting relationship. I remember playing the Marvel Spider-Man, and and the DLC came out with Black Cat in it, and I just love that relationship that they have.
Yeah,
it's pretty. There's the animated series version that's pretty good, and then let's see, she was also in the Spectacular Spider-Man.
I've actually never finished that show. I never watched it.
It's one of my favorites. I love it.
Everyone talks about that. Like anyone that's a Spider-Man fan always talks about how great it is. I've never heard anyone say that it's terrible. But I never watched it because I'm very picky about my art style that I watch, and people were telling me like, hey, like give it a shot, and I did. I've only watched I think 6 episodes, but it's really good. I slept on it. I will admit that was my fault. I slept on a really good show, and and the fact that I haven't finished it proved. Yeah, I don't know why I haven't finished
Disney
it.
Plus has like the first season, on their streaming service. So, but yeah, it's one of the best Spider-Man shows. Obviously, I still like the animated series. That's still top tier for me because I grew up with that series. But definitely second is the Spectacular Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man is pretty good. That I've heard good things about that one as well. I haven't watched it like from start to finish. I've just seen episodes here and there of it.
Yep. I like it because they introduced the other spider people later on, so that's one of the reasons why I'm like, this is really freaking cool. Like they introduce all, I like it, but it really sucks because I don't know if you ever heard about the accusations about Drake Bell, where that's the only thing that's like uncomfortable to make me watch it, is like, it sucks. Like what? Because I think he does a great job being Peter Parker. But listening to, like, hearing about those accusations and to find out that he got, I think, convicted or proven, of like sexting somebody that was underage, it's just like, damn it. So it sucks. It's the same thing with like Rick and Morty, the same thing with Justin Roiland. I love Rick and Morty, but then the news recently about Justin Roiland sucks. And
the same thing with Ezra Miller and the Flash. That's just it. People are very, very split on that, and I mean, as you should be. Like even myself, I haven't decided if I'm going to watch it or not. I mean, there are people besides Ezra Miller that put in the work to make this movie, and you're getting Michael Keaton back as Batman. I forgot the actress who's playing Supergirl. She looks great, but yeah, it's that same situation. It's just hard to try to differentiate. Like, do I want to go watch this movie knowing about this person who's a pretty bad person and he's done some pretty bad things? So it's a tough decision.
Yeah, I recently talked about that with my friends because I'm not in the DC fandom. I'm not about, like, I don't know anything about that. But I was really confused because I'm like, okay, I'm confused on how this makes any sense, because you know about Amber Heard, and people were like boycotting not to go see Aquaman 2 because of what she did to Johnny Depp, right? And then I'm like, so that's one thing. But then I'm like, here's all the stuff that I've heard about Ezra Miller, and yet people are like, I'm gonna go see this movie, and I'm like, I'm so confused. Like, what am? And then my friend told me, well, they're like, well, Michael Keaton's in it, who's coming back as Batman, and then like Supergirl, and they're like, he was like, apparently this is gonna reset the DC universe. And I was like, okay, so you're saying that if because there's a lot of cool stuff happening in this movie, therefore it's worth to go see it. And just so, I mean, to be fair, there's bad apples everywhere. No matter no matter what company there's no company movie thing that's 100% pure and innocent. There's always somebody that works behind it that is terrible. So, like, if you want to go watch the movie, go watch it. But like, for me, I wouldn't, because like that dude's gonna get the money. But to each their own. Like, whoever wants to go see it. Again, like people said, there are people that worked on the movie, so like it's a catch-22 situation with that.
Yeah, so it's very, very tough to decide on that for sure. But yeah, like you mentioned, it's supposed to reset the entire DC universe. So Ezra Miller will probably more than likely should be done as the Flash, so he'll be out. I don't know if the film was finished, production and all that stuff, when this stuff came out, and so that's one thing I'm not entirely sure, or what, but I don't know. We got a few months. I don't know. It doesn't come out till like the summer, I think. So who knows? I don't know.
It's what they even canceled. What was it, Batgirl? Like they
I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, they finished the whole movie. It's all cut, but then they're like, "Yeah, we're just not doing it."
Yeah.
Like, why? Why would you do that? I'm curious as to what the reason was for that. But I'm like, you finished the movie. It's done. Just publish it. Like, people want it. I don't know. It's confusing. But hey, publish the movie with the dude that did a lot of terrible things.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, like, because when James Gunn came in, they canceled Doom Patrol and Titans, and I was like, oh, those are my favorite shows. It just sucks. But I mean, they may come back. Who knows? But it's just a hot mess, basically.
I feel like if I was a DC fan, that'd be really stressful. I mean, like, disappointing to have all these projects be cut, be rearranged, swapping out different stuff. I feel like it would suck to be a DC fan of stuff. But yeah, hopefully it works out. Hopefully it turns out and they get the stuff that they want.
Yeah, so we'll definitely see for sure how that shapes out. But they got a long way to go before they can catch up with Marvel and the stuff that they're doing. Ant-Man and the Wasp just came out this past weekend. Pretty good film. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I'm gonna wait, to be honest. I'm not a huge Ant-Man fan, so I'm just like, I'm glad that I waited for Thor: Love and Thunder, because like I was gonna go see that movie in the movie theater, and then I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna wait. And I'm so glad I did, because if I would have spent money on that, I would have been so pissed. That was terrible. That was no.
The person I had on for the Tuesdays episode of Nerd Talk, we were talking about that too. It was just trash. And this is a person coming from she likes Thor: The Dark World, and I was just like, what? And but she was like, yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder it's not very good. And I know it's
no.
It was just not a good movie. I did not enjoy myself.
No, there were parts where I'm like, is this real? Like, this acting was so terrible. It was so not funny.
Yeah.
It was, like, I remember the part specifically with, like, Thor and Star-Lord talking, and, like, they're like, oh, yeah, that was intentional. I'm like, intentional or not, that shit was annoying. Like, that was not funny.
Yep.
No. Yeah, no.
You had the screaming goats every 5 seconds. That was really just annoying.
It was funny the first time, but then it was annoying because I'm like, okay, all right, let's yeah. They tried too hard with that.
Yeah, and it was just a hot mess. But have you played? How many of the Spider-Man games have you played? I remember seeing you post something a while back. You were talking about Spider-Man Edge of Time. I think that's what it was called.
I never played Edge of Time. I believe if that's the Spider-Man game with Spider-Man 2099, I played it by just turning it on, and then I never touched it again. I got the game, but it was my ex-fiance's. We got it for an Xbox 360, and I don't have an Xbox. I'm a PlayStation fan, so.
I respect that.
But yeah, I played, the Tobey Maguire games. I do not remember the Spider-Man 3 game for it, though. Like, I remember, like, I had it, but I don't remember playing it. Like, I was obsessed with the second one. Like, that was the game that I replayed all the time. Like, that is the most iconic game ever. But I made a video about, like, a year and a half ago when I compared the PS4 game and the PS2 Spider-Man 2 game, and I said I liked the second one more, and people were like, you just like it because of the nostalgia, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, okay, let me explain. And I never got to explain making a video about it, but the reason why I like the OG classic game is not because of the graphics and the suit, and yes, that's all fun, but, like, in the Spider-Man PS4 game, like, there's not a lot of combos. Like, I remember in the second game, like, there was a combo that required you to push, like, 10 buttons. Like, and that was a challenge for me. But for the PS2, like, just smashing the square button, it's not fun for me. Yeah. Like, I like a bit of, like, remembering the moves and stuff like that. And the web swinging of... Because there were helicopters in both games, and, like, if you shot your web, you could attach yourself to a helicopter and just float around the city. And I remember when the PS4 game came out, I was like, yeah, let's do this. And you can't attach yourself to a helicopter. And I'm like, oh. Like, I was looking forward to that. So, like, yeah, is the PS4 game fun and great? Yes, obviously, I freaking love it. But, like challenge-wise, like, I really enjoyed the PS4 or the PS2 game because it was more challenging with, like, all the different button combinations and stuff. And there were some moves that are not in the PS4 game that I'm like, oh, dude, I remember. Like, there was this one move where if you get really high up in the air and you can, like, hug them and you turn upside down and you can smash their head into the ground. Yep. I love that. But they don't trust.
Then with that one, you could actually, like, activate your spider sense, and it would slow time and everything around you. Now the PS4, yeah, it's a very fun game. I love the PS4 game. A lot of its mechanics and things like that were just basically based off the Arkham series of Batman games. Which is fun. I mean, which is fun. But you had gadgets, you had the ability to do stealth and things like that. So a lot of it was just more based off the Arkham game. I mean, I love both. But playing the PS2 version of Spider-Man 2 was very fun because it was world open, and you could just do all this stuff. Because I remember in the first like PlayStation 1 Spider-Man game that they did, it was just your web swinging through the sky, and your webs are just attached to the sky. And then the PS2 version comes out with the second one, and then you gotta attach your webs to the buildings, and so it just made a lot more sense. The combos were great. I hated in that game fighting these mechanized tank suits. There was just
God, yeah, I remember.
Hassle to take down.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Uh, there was another thing about that game that the PS4 doesn't have is that they had hideouts. I mean, granted,
Oh
yes,
yeah.
they had hideouts of the gangs and stuff like that, but like you could go inside the buildings. Like even buildings that weren't hideouts for like you could just go into a bank, you could just go into a grocery store,
Yeah.
just walk around in there. And that made it so much fun. But like in the PS4 game, there would be a few robberies, but the camera angle was weird. Like you weren't in the building, you were outside and you had to fight. Like I was like, why can't I fight inside the building? Like why is this weird camera angle from the outside?
Yeah.
So like it's just the little things like that that make me appreciate the PS2 thing. And I think people forgot about like, because once you beat the game, like all you do is just web swing around and then redo the hideouts if you want. But
Yeah.
you could actually explore this. I mean, you can explore both cities, but like I think there was like 60 or 90 some hideouts or like locations where you could go inside the building and stuff. And I just thought that was really fun and cool to do.
Yeah. And then there was also, so besides those games, I played the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. I played the first one, but not the second one. I hated the first one with a passion. I just hated how it was done. I had heard people say the second one is a little bit better, but that first one was just kind of like, I don't like this at all. This is just
I never played the first one, but I played the second one. God, that game sucks. That's the worst Spider-Man game. Like
yeah.
that game, you literally cannot explore the city. You have to constantly be doing something as Spider-Man. And if you don't do like the little side missions, like your heroic level drops down and then like all these robots are constantly shooting at you until you get your heroic level back up. And I'm like, this is not fun. Like I just want to web swing around the city. Like I don't just because I don't go save a drowning kid in the river, like my hero level shouldn't drop down. But like, yeah, you either play the missions or you don't get to explore the city as Spider-Man. That's so annoying. And that was my first time experiencing like the different suits of like Spider-Man, where you can
Oh
change
yeah.
your suit to play throughout the game. And I'm like, oh, that's really fun. But like the story and like the game mechanics and that, and was just a no for me. That is the worst Spider-Man game. I was not happy about it. Whatever. So from the from the Amazing Spider-Man games to like the PS4 game was a huge transition of like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was,
Because there was also like the Ultimate Spider-Man game for the PS2. That one was fun. I don't know if you played that one or not. That
no,
one's fun. And then there was Spider-Man Web of Shadows.
yes,
That one that one was
that's the
pretty
one
fun.
with Noir 2099 and the
No,
symbiotes. Yeah,
this one was yeah,
isn't that?
if it Web of Shadows was it was no, it was it just had like it had your choices kind
Yeah.
of dictated whether you were going to be a hero or you were going to kind of be like an anti-villain
Oh,
or
that okay. Now I know what you're talking about. Yep. Okay, what the heck is the no? That's Shattered
yeah,
Dimensions.
Shadow Dimensions.
That's,
That's the. I haven't played
okay.
that one, but Web of Shadows was fun because you got to swap between in your classic red and blue suit to the symbiote suit, and each one was very different. And like Wolverine was in it, Vulture, Moon Knight,
Moon Knight was
Rhino.
in it.
Yeah, Moon Knight was in it. Black Cat's in it. Obviously, Obviously, I think Venom is in it too. It's been years since I played the game. I'll have to go back and look. But it was pretty cool because like it's an open city, and what was happening is that people were being taken over by symbiotes. There's a symbiote Wolverine. Um, oh, Daredevil's in the game too. Um,
Well, I can't believe I slept on this game. This game's
yeah. You need to go to YouTube and look it up. It's a very fun game, and like you got to choose. So it will give you. So there's one mission where like you have to get to like the prison, and you have two options. You can either go with the Vulture or you can go with Moon Knight. And depending on which one you go with, you got that person as an ally. So if I went with Vulture, I could call in Vulture anytime to help fight different bad guys and stuff like that along the throughout the game. The same thing with the hero side too. So it's
Which game was this one again?
This was Spider-Man Web of Shadows.
Damn. Yeah, I never played that one. No.
Definitely look it up, and so worth playing. If you
was that a PlayStation 3? Like it was after? No.
Well, I played it. I think it was PlayStation 3, but I played it on Xbox 360. That's how I played it.
I think that's the reason why I didn't really play those games, because if I remember correctly, I think they weren't. That was like the cutoff of like PS2 games being produced, and it was for the PlayStation 3 from that point on. Because I went from PlayStation 2 to PS4. I never had a PlayStation 3.
Let's see. They had it for. So it was for PC, Xbox 360. Oh, it was for PlayStation 3, Wii, PlayStation 2.
Oh, PlayStation 2.
Yeah, so.
Well, I know what I'm going to buy tonight.
Oh, you can actually. Oh, man, look at that. You can probably buy this off Amazon, I think. See, now I gotta look and see if I can buy it for PC. Yeah, it's very, very fun game. I'll definitely love playing it. It was very, very fun, and I think that's pretty much it. I haven't played the other two, Shattered Dimensions or Edge of Time. I haven't played those. Never really cared to play Friend or Foe.
My friend, when he came to visit me, he brought that game, and it was fun. It was cute. It was a different game you could play with two people. I'm assuming that would be more fun than playing it by yourself. Yeah. But yeah, it was different Spider-Man game than I had ever played before, because it wasn't solo. It was, you had a team member with you at all times.
Yeah, so very, very, very fun. See, now I want to get back and playing these games because they were just very fun to play as a kid growing up. But yeah, all right, guys. I think that wraps up this episode. This was a long one, which I'm okay with. Definitely not upset with it. Very fun. But as per usual, you guys, y'all know the drill. Hit that like and subscribe button. And for those who, as per usual, are watching, you should see up on screen now a way to follow and support SpideyyBooty. And then those on podcasts, tell us how they can follow you.
Well, you can follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, which I plan on getting back onto it. I'm really soon. I just want to make sure that when I get back, I'm there permanently and I'm not going anywhere. But I am mostly active on Instagram, and it's all under the same username, SpideyyBooty. It's Spidey with 2 Y's and then Booty with 1 Y, and it's exactly how it's spelled. So, but yeah.
But yeah, very fun. It's just, I enjoyed this. This was very fun. It was very fun to do. But yeah, you're always welcome to come back on. So that's definitely not, because now I feel like there's just like more stuff for us to like.
I can talk people's ear off. Every single time when I talk with my friends, it's definitely more than a 5-hour conversation, because we talk about anything and anything underneath the sun. So, but I'm so thankful that you had me. It was my first time ever doing a podcast, and I had a lot of fun, and it was just fun. So thank you for inviting me and stuff.
No problem. But you guys know the drill. Be sure to also check out the channel as well. We got our Grand Theft Auto series going on, and we also have our Halo Reach series going on as well right now. So definitely plenty of stuff on the channel right now for you guys to check out. And other than that, I will see you guys later. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.
Bye.